Okay, next up is a suspense horror film entitled A Perfect Getaway, and it's funny I was talking about Meryl Streep just a while ago because this film almost seems like a copy of one of her films from the mid-90s, River Wild, alongside Kevin Bacon. Mind you, it only seems that way on the surface, but A Perfect Getaway is more bold in its terror and gets downright evil and nasty at times. Now, the film stars Steve Zahn and Milla Jovovich as Cliff and Sydney. They they are a vacationing couple who meet up with Nick and Gina. They are played by Timothy Oliphant and Kiara Sanchez. Both couples are on vacation in Hawaii for some hiking and camping. Now, the couple seem to hit it off well, and they come across Kale and Cleo, played by Chris Hemsworth and Marley Shelton. Now, news breaks out all of a sudden that there is a honeymooning couple murdered in Hawaii, and suspicions begin to arise among the couples. I love how the anticipation among them in this film bubbles and just explodes at the right time, making many of us jump. And now, while there are odd points of this film of obviousness that seem to abound, but it's not always predictable, at least not in the general sense. But if you think hard enough, you may guess what's up. But in my opinion, that's what holds up the appeal and charm of this film. The fact that it'll keep you guessing with every turn, and occasionally you might be right, but occasionally you might be wrong. And then it scares you sometimes, and it'll grab you. And that's all I want in a horror film like this. Now, 2009 has been a year where many horror films have either been ambitious or fun entertainers, and this falls into the latter. But the former is there just a little bit too. I mean, it lacked the ambition that Last House on the Left had, but was a million times better in its storytelling and the fact that it didn't have to be mean-spirited constantly. I reviewed a film last week called The Collector, a reprehensible fuster cluck of a horror film that has no place anywhere. Fact is, if you're going to be scary. And if you're going to add some goriness, do it with a purpose and have a method to the film's madness, and that's exactly what this film does. I'm so sick and tired of horror films that are just too heavy on one or the other or just screw up both completely. Now, Steve Zahn has proven time and time again that he's not always going to be the slapstick doofus, he did the movie Management with Jennifer Aniston, which was a bit of that character, obviously, but Zahn has found the perfect balance, I think, for himself, switching roles back and forth. He does quite well here, and so does Milla Jovovich, who, in my opinion, was never that great of an actress in any movie I've seen her in, but she does surprisingly well. And maybe she'll finally learn that a world exists beyond the Resident Evil films. And I've always liked Timothy Oliphant. He's been a very underrated actor, and he does well here, as do all the other actors. This film works as what it is, a matinee horror entertainer, or if you rent it and your date is in the mood for a horror film, it's a good way to just shut off the lights and enjoy the suspenseful ride. A Perfect Getaway is not a perfect movie, but really, were any of us expecting it to be? So I give A Perfect Getaway 3 stars out of 5.